what other MSPs do. So cybersecurity awareness training obviously is a big piece of that. So what we have seen a lot of our partners do successfully is they will offer our prospecting tools to a potential client, so someone they're not currently working with, to help obtain that business, right? And so by doing so, you can give them a free phishing campaign, a free dark web scam, and then most importantly, we feel like our baseline employee cybersecurity assessment is a game changer, right? So, in order to do a phishing campaign or a dark web scan, especially a phishing campaign, you're going to need some information from that prospect. They may not be willing to provide that to you. I'm not going to give you all my email addresses. Fair enough. Okay. A dark web scan is easy. We can do that, but we all have been doing dark web scans for prospecting for a while now. It's got some variation of success. The baseline employee cybersecurity assessment is a great tool because you can just simply provide a link to your prospect and saying, hey, here's a link. I'd like you to send this out to your employees. Have them go through this. Let's find out where your vulnerability is, right? So all you're doing is send them to a link. That's all that's required. Once you give them a certain time frame, let's call it a week or two, to fill out the assessment, and then they take that information back. And time over time, we see that their employees, there's gaps, there's major holes where they're vulnerable. It covers 6 main areas, but most importantly, it gives you, again, this is why we call it a baseline. It gives you a baseline. This is where you're at today. So then you can say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, here's the baseline results that we looked at. They're not great, but what we want to do is help you improve that, right? So what we'll do is we want to give you full access to our cybersecurity awareness training, right? We think that this is a game changer. We want to give this to you for 2 months, 3 months, whatever that might look like. And if we can improve your employees and help protect your company, maybe we go our separate ways. But I promise you in 3 months, we can do that. And then again, we've seen a lot of partners have success in this. They offer this up. It's a minimal cost to the partner. Client acquisition cost is pretty minimal. And then they can show that value. And then from there, you can have them take our annual training. Then you take a look at, say, hey, this is where your baseline test was. This is where your training is now. Wow, look how much your company's improving. That shows a huge value there. And then you can say, great. Now that we've shown this to you, now you can talk about some other things that you guys do as an MSP, talking about, again, the Microsoft and all that other stuff. But that's a huge tool that we have found our partners using to acquire new clients. Also, this could be used on your current client base, right? So let's say you have current clients of yours that are, in the middle of their contract, and they're saying, hey, I don't know that I want to spend the money on this. I'm not sure that I have the time for this. Like, hey, no problem. Let me do this. Let me show you the value of it first, right? So before we alter your contract, make contract, we don't want to do anything like that. Let's just show you the value of what we can do, and you can do the same thing. Here's a phishing campaign, dark web scan, which chances are you're probably doing those things. But again, the baseline employee cybersecurity assessment, they're probably not doing anything like that. So you can offer that up to your current clients, saying, hey, I know you said you didn't think you need this, but let me show you the results of your accounting team that shows their vulnerability to clicking on links and providing their passwords and things like that. So again, it can be used for obtaining new clients, but also going and showing the value to your current client base. Okay. So next I'm going to talk about our breach prevention platform. This is really our flagship product here. We have a couple different products we provide here at BSN, but first and foremost is our breach prevention platform. Now you can choose to add HIPAA compliancy to that. But again, our platform, we're a training company. So this platform is going to cover multiple things. It's going to give you unlimited phishing campaigns, 24/7 dark web monitoring. You name it, we can do it. It's a single pane of glass that you can manage your clients with. So there are all these different factors that go into it. You get weekly trainings, we give you a monthly newsletter, there's an annual training, all these different factors we do, and it goes into one ESS. We call that your employee security score. And so what that does is that helps gauge where you are and where you are going, what's your trend. So we want to see every employee's ESS get to a certain level. Our company, I think our minimum is 700, 650, something. So, but we're constantly looking at that. It's very, very gamified. So there's a lot of competition going on about who's got the highest score. So that's what we focus on, is how can we make this both fun and achievable for employees, But also the main goal is, again, to protect your company and your employees, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. You can have every piece of software and hardware that exists out there to protect you, but you can't prevent that one person from clicking on that link and putting in their login and password, right? It's almost impossible to do. That's where we come in and say, hey, let us help train your people. We are not going to solve every problem. We're going to be a part of that solution, right? So our BPP, as we call it, is our flagship product. And we'd love to give you, if you're currently using BSN, thank you very much. If you're not using BSN, we'd love to show you what that BPP looks like, what our platform does, and how it all works. It's a pretty slick product, and I think you'll all find it very valuable. Next, I want to talk about the utilization of the training tools. So purchasing our platform is really the first step, of course, but then making sure that you're utilizing our tools is obviously the most important. Just like anything, I'm sure we all got a treadmill or something like that in our house that we don't use very much. Mine's great for holding laundry. But that step one was buying it. Step two is you got to use it, right? And so same thing with our platform. It's great to have it, but you got to make sure you're doing. You got to make sure you're taking those trainings. Make sure you're having phishing campaigns go out, right? Make sure you're monitoring that dark web. Make sure all these things are set up so you're actually getting utilization out of it. That is the only way you're going to actually train your employees and get better, right? But also, and this is where I'm going to transition to the cyber liability piece, is you do need to be utilizing these tools in order to make sure your policies are effective, right? So it's, again, great that you have it. Step one is you bought it, but if you have a breach, insurance company doesn't care that you bought it, they care if you're using it, right? So I want to talk about how we can be utilizing these tools. So a typical cyber liability insurance checklist, right? These are what they consider the most basic items needed on most policies, right? You get antivirus, obviously the easy one, MFA, security awareness training, right? That we're right in that list. There's, I think, a common misconception that's been around is that security awareness training is this new nice thing and people may or may not need it, but it's simply not the case anymore. It truly should be up there with antivirus, firewall. You need it. It's got to be part of your stack. I think if it's not part of your standard stack, you're part of your standard MSA, someone down the street's going to make it part of theirs, and that's going to not give you the competitive advantage that you think you need, right? So it's becoming that important. Just make sure you're out ahead of the game. You don't want to be the MSP in 2 years. It was like, oh, I sure wish we had added that 2 years ago, right? We want to get out in front of it. So this is what a standard cyber insurance solution stack looks like. This is information that the insurance companies have given us. So we cover 6 of these 22 boxes. So again, trying to get more towards, one single pane of glass, one solution. Obviously, no company covers all of these, but we can check out 6 of these boxes, and we're pretty proud of that, right? So something to consider when you're looking at different, do you use a different company for dark web monitoring? We use this company for security awareness training. We use this company for phishing campaigns. We use this company for compliance. We can do all those things, right? So limiting your login fatigue. It's single pane of glass. This is a standard stack that an insurance company feels strongly about, and we want to check as many boxes as we can. So we actually, our CEO went and he went to I think the top 10 insurance carriers for cyber insurance in the U.S. and did a questionnaire and analysis of what they were all required. 10 out of the 10 required security awareness training. And you can see 9 out of 10 had policies and 7 out of 10 had an SRA. You just kind of read through that, but 10 out of 10 said security awareness training had to be on there. So that's, again, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, everything changes. Today, security awareness training is a big piece of that puzzle. To that point, insurance companies will seek a way not to pay, right? We have multiple examples of this. We have a big example from Travelers. I believe it was in the New Jersey, New York area where there was a very big breach. So a claim was put in. The company was using they had bought all the right tools, but many of their employees were not doing the training. So that claim was denied. Right. So again, this goes back to having the right tools in place is half the battle, but utilizing those tools is the most important piece, right? It's like anything we do in this world. You got to be constantly doing it to get better, right? You can't practice once a year. You can't practice once a month. You got to be doing this all the time to get better at it. So in order to make your employees as firewall as they can, They got to make sure that they're doing this on a constant basis. Our CEO, Art, did a great webinar on cyber liability insurance a few weeks ago, actually. So I encourage you guys all to go check it out. We can provide a link in the chat for you. We make no mistake of hiding the fact that Art, our CEO, did partner on the side with a insurance broker that specializes in cyber liability insurance. And one of the main factors he did this for was so that we can constantly be up to date on the most recent recommendations and requirements that are needed, right? So instead of being reactive, we can find out ahead of time about, hey, here's some new requirements coming down the pipe. Let's make sure our platform is adjusted and ready to go. So when they hit, we have that. So when they require this, we already got it in there. That's our whole goal. Our goal is to make sure our platform protects you and your clients. I want to talk a little bit about our integration with Gradient. So we are constantly moving towards automation, right? So we want to do as much automation as we can. We want to get more towards that set and forget model. And in order to do that, partnering with Gradient was a big step for us because they help us automate with as many ticket management systems as we can. We're trying to certainly move more and more towards that. So we're really happy with the integration and partnership with Gradient. So it allows us to connect with more and more of your PSAs. So for the next step process, hopefully a lot of you guys are current partners. And if you are, I strongly encourage you to reach out to your partner engagement consultant. If you do not know who that is, please reach out to us and ask us, or you can email me directly. My email is jimb@trustsecurenow.com. I can certainly, I help manage that partner engagement team, so I can direct you to the right person. If you are not a partner today and you'd like more information, we would love to give you a demo and kind of talk through that with you. You can actually click on the demo link. We can share the slide deck, but you can click on that and schedule a demo with us directly. Or again, you can reach out to us on our website through the email, or email me and say, hey, I would love to get more information. We'd be happy to talk about next steps with you. Are there any questions at this time?
I don't think I've seen any come through. Just some comments around why security training is so important. So thank you so much, Jim, for being here today, for speaking, for dealing with all this craziness for this virtual platform. Great presentation. As a reminder, you can visit Jim and the Breach Secure Now team at their booth once we're done with this session. So